is Deborah. I'm coming to you from Canberra, Australia, and this is a channel I started to help me with my unfinished projects problem. Hi, I started this channel on the 1st of April 2025, and that's when I started the UFO Bingo card game. And it's now mid-January, and I would really like to see if I could manage to get a bingo, a line of boxes crossed off in any direction, or at least finish most of the projects that I have started on the channel before the 31st of March. So there will be a series of videos coming up that hopefully will have a lot of finishing things in them. I have 3 or 4 quilts in my lounge room that just need to be quilted and bound, and they'll be finished. You've already seen the tops of those, so it's not going to be very exciting, but I'd like to show the finished result and have a ceremonious crossing off of the box. I have to say it won't all be that. I did a little bit of shopping recently, and I've picked up some fabric that I'm very excited to use in a couple of other projects that just needed something else before I could get them started. So I strongly suspect there will be a couple more quilts being started in that same time frame. So I'll get started on this one. This is mostly about progressing things and is going to contribute another quilt to the pile downstairs that needs quilting. So hopefully we're going to see some finishes. We're going to see a couple of new exciting things started, and it'd be really fun if there was a whole line marked off. I just having a play with these Scrappy blocks and putting some up on the board to see if I can make something I'm happy with. Yeah, so we'll just get on with that for a bit. This is what I've come up with initially. It's kind of distinct colours, because I really did manage to get mostly one colour in the blocks. This bit down here doesn't really work. I've put some on the sides. I'm trying to make it 8 by 8. So they're actually not too bad. And I am going to have to make 1 or 2 more. I think that mustard one is a bit startling there. And that green, that bright green is a bit startling. So I need something with a purple and maybe a green and maybe a dark green and some blue. And I probably need something a bit darker instead of the mustardy coloured one. So I might make 2 more blocks. One, yeah, I'm only 1 short, but I think I have to make 2 or 3 new ones. I'll try for 2. I'll try for the one in the corner with some purple and some green. And this one, the mustardy coloured one, with some black and some blue. but a blue going into a green would be really nice. I don't think I've got one that I could pull out because that's quite bright. Oh, I might try that one. Okie doke, let's do that. Right, that is better. And that's no more startling. I think that's a reasonable segue. Can I get away with that blue one on the end? I might get away with that. It has greens on the edges going into the green. It doesn't have any purple. It doesn't have any proper purple. I think I'll still make 2 more. Created the perfect block. It's this one. It's in the middle. It's in between a blue one and a green one, coming down from a black one, going down to a blue one. Okay, so now I just need a purple one going to a green one, and I'll be done. Another Scrappy quilt top bites the dust. That's it all put together. Turned it upside down from when I designed it. Holds up. It actually took a lot longer than I expected. I clearly overhandled the blocks and a lot of the seams were starting to give way. So I fixed all of those before I sewed it together because I do not want the top to fall apart as soon as it's used. And so that took me, I thought it was going to take me till about lunchtime yesterday. It took me till 7:30 p.m. But it's done. It's out of the way. I have the African quilt on the trestle tables in the lounge room. I need to do the right angled rows of hand quilting, and then probably bind that, and then once that's off the table I can I've got at least two, possibly 3 quilts down there waiting to be machine quilted, so this can go on the pile. Okay, so I've decided the next thing to do is finish a wall hanging that I have. Here in Australia, when I was a kid, there was a very, very popular series of books by Dorothy Wall about Blinky Bill, who was a little koala who was anthropomorphized to a great extent. He used to wear clothes, he'd get up to all sorts of adventures, and he'd be naughty. And I loved his books. My parents gave me a beautifully illustrated Blinky Bill book when I was quite small, and I love him. So I have a wall hanging that has a series of black and white versions of some of the illustrations in the books, and there were 8 of them in the panel. So I've decided I'm going to do an applique of a little koala in the and sew it into the space. So I have a book called Applique Workshop by Cheryl Arnott. I have had it such a long time. So I love the very simple designs, but they're they're a bit challenging as far as the applique is concerned. And so I've photocopied the pattern several times. I'm cutting out the pieces at the moment. So I've just cut out the feet. They're going to be orange polka dot. And I will keep going. I've got a yellowy stripe for the shirt, bright yellow for the trousers. The red, I'm just going to do his tongue. I think it's meant to be embroidered, but that's not one of my better skills. We'll see what happens. I might decide to embroider it because I've got to do just some back stitching in a couple of different places. We can buy koala noses, plastic ones, in the craft shops. I might look for a koala nose because I'm going to use it as a wall hanging, not as a blanket. It's not very big. And the grey fleece is for his face. I'm going to use the back of the fleece for his face. Blinky Bill is there. So I could actually finish this row. I've got a lot of leftover African blocks, and I have some fabric with very large patterns on them, like people that are 12 inches high and things like that. So that might not take very long. The strips cot quilt the strips are already sewn together, so I'll probably do some applique on those and then just quilt them up here on my heavy duty machine with the quilting platform on it. They probably won't take terribly long. The Positano quilt, on the other hand, very complex. I've cut out a heap of blocks, decided they're not quite right, and let's see if we can get this in better light. Not really. I have got lights coming from all sorts of directions. So the other alternative is to keep going down this row. So that's the African quilt, Japanese quilt blocks. I have quite a few of them. They're not very big. I have a lot of panels, Japanese panels, and a lot of Japanese fabric. I did pull a couple of panels out a little while ago and couldn't decide what I wanted to do with the blocks. So these are actually different blocks to the ones I looked at first. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. And the teddy quilt in my wardrobe is, I've cut out a lot of squares and teddy faces that need to be appliqued on, and the features need to be appliqued on. So that's not actually going to be a fast finish either. But yeah, and you know, one day I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to feel like doing any of those things, and I'll go off on another tangent. So I would like to finish a line at some point. I'm just not sure when it's going to be. Oh, actually, I could also go sideways. That's a t-shirt, but it has a tab front, and I haven't done one of those for a while, so that's reasonably quick, but not really, really quick. Oh, this Chinese wall hanging just needs a couple of beads and things sewn back on. It already has a hanging sleeve, so I could probably get that out of the way quite quickly. And there's a silk pillow, just a panel that I've made that I wanted to make a silk pillow out of. I've got all the bits and pieces, so that's basically just add a zip and stitch around it, I think. So the diagonal might be the best bet. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Oh, I need to put a pink mark on Blinky Bill because I'm actively working on that.
There we go. Makes it accurate.
I'm trying to do some of this lace scarf every day to try and get it finished. I think I'll probably only get about 3 more bands of colour on there before I run out of the multicoloured yarn there. I keep making mistakes. I cannot ever see where the pattern has gone wrong, but I get to the end and I don't have enough stitches left. I really don't know what's going on. I count them before I start and I get to the end and there aren't enough. I just do not know what I'm doing wrong. I'm getting very, very over it. I have to unpick this row again. It looks perfect. It looks completely perfect. But it has to go. It has to be redone. It's very annoying.